Welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales, where every night brings an unforgettable adventure before you drift off. Tonight, prepare to be whisked away to a hidden temple that appears only under the silver glow of the blood moon. A place where ancient secrets and daring trials await. Stay cozy, snuggle in, and let's embark on a journey that will spark your imagination and soothe you into a peaceful slumber. Ryan lived at the edge of a quiet village, nestled between two looming ridges of the Moonshadow Mountains. From the day he could walk, he sensed something stirring within him, a faint warmth beneath his skin, a restless yearning whenever twilight fell. Each night, just as midnight approached, he would lie awake in bed, heart thumping like a hummingbird, listening to whispers carried on the wind. He never understood their words, only that they beckoned him toward the ridge where no villager dared tread. On the eve of his 13th birthday, the whispers took on new urgency. Ryan sat by his window, watching storm clouds swirl overhead. Lightning arced across the sky, illuminating the world in flashes of silver. In that sudden glow, he noticed a shape on the distant ridge, a silhouette of an ancient temple he had only ever glimpsed in his nightmares. The moment his eyes fell upon it, the air itself vibrated with an uncanny pulse, as if the mountain exhaled a single breath that reached him all the way across the valley. His heart skipped. He felt the call deep in his bones, an invisible thread tying him to that hidden ruin. Without a second thought, he slipped out of bed, grabbed his cloak, and crept past sleeping guardians. Each footstep toward the forest edge felt both perilous and inevitable, as though he were following the beat of a flame that glowed only for him. The village square lay deserted under the night's embrace, lanterns flickering like watchful eyes. Ryan climbed the narrow path that wound through the pine trees, rain dampening his hair and chilling him to the bone. But he felt neither cold nor fear, only a fierce determination to discover why the temple called him. As he emerged onto the ridge just moments before midnight, the ground trembled beneath his feet. In a heartbeat, the earth split open, and from the chasm rose the flame temple. Towering pillars carved with symbols no living soul had ever deciphered. Its steps, slick with moss and rain, glowed as though forged from molten stone. From within, a reddish-orange light pulsed like a heartbeat, illuminating the surrounding cliffs in shades of fire. Ryan stood transfixed, shawl billowing in the gust that came from nowhere. All at once, the temple's great doors swung open with a thunderous groan, revealing a yawning chamber lit by hundreds of floating torches. Their flames danced without fuel, forming shapes that flickered like living beings. In that instant, Ryan knew this was no mere building. It was a living vault of ancient power, waiting for a champion to claim its secret. A voice, low and resonant, like rolling thunder, echoed through the courtyard. Child of the blood moon, bearer of the flame mark, enter if you dare. He swallowed hard, feeling the mark on his palm, an ember-shaped crest that had cooled to a faint warmth moments before, now burned brightly as if awakening from slumber. With every step he took up the temple stairs, memories he had never known stirred in his mind. Distant laughter, crackling fires, the solemn faces of guardians fashioned from smoke and ash. Just as his foot crossed the threshold, the torches flared, and an invisible barrier snapped into place behind him. The temple's door thundered shut. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. Beyond the flickering light, the vast chamber stretched into shadow, its walls inscribed with runes that seemed to writhe and shift. Somewhere deep within, a heartbeat of magic pulsed, as if the temple itself were breathing. Welcome, Ryan, the voice whispered again, softer now, but brimming with expectation. Your trials begin as the hourglass empties. Will you stand tall against the flames that test your heart? Ryan pressed a trembling hand to his chest, feeling the steady thrum of his own pulse. He could not turn back. The temple had called him, and in that moment, he knew his life would never be the same. And so, with blood pounding in his ears and rain still falling beyond the stone walls, Ryan took his first step into the unknown. And the flame trials loomed ahead like a promise or a curse. A hush fell over the chamber as the heavy door slammed shut behind Ryan, sealing him within the glowing heart of the flame temple. His heartbeat thrummed louder than the distant rain, and the flickering orange light cast long, wavering shadows across the carved stone walls. For a moment, all he could hear was the echo of his own breath. Then the voice returned, resonant and patient. Your first trial awaits, child of embers. Face your darkest fear or be consumed by it. In the center of the vast hall, a circle of embers ignited on the floor, forming a ring of dancing flames that stretched as tall as Ryan's shoulders. The heat washed over him in waves, but it was not the warmth of comfort. It was an ominous, alive sensation, as though those flames sought to invade his very thoughts. Stepping toward the circle, Ryan felt the air thicken. Every fiber of his being trembled, but he steadied himself. The moment his foot crossed into the ring, the world around him blurred. The torches on the walls burned brighter, morphing into giant, watchful eyes. The pillars appeared to twist and writhe like serpents ready to strike. Suddenly, he was no longer alone. From the dancing flames, shapes emerged, figures formed of smoke and ember, whispering words he could not understand. Their faces were masks of agony and rage, and as they drew nearer, each wraith-like guardian pointed a finger at him, their hollow eyes shining with accusation. Ryan's breath caught. Every step he took deeper into the ring caused the shapes to grow taller, their whispers coalescing into a chorus of doubts and taunts. Coward, betrayer, you are unworthy. A cold shiver dug into his spine as the whispers took on the form of memories he had tried to bury. The night his father left the village in search of lost treasure, promising to return, and never did. The echo of his mother's tearful plea, "Stay safe, Ryan," rang in his ears. The flame figures reached out with skeletal hands of flame, beckoning him toward a vast chasm that yawned at the center of the circle. Kneeling at the lip of that abyss, Ryan saw a vision of himself falling endlessly, screaming into darkness. Terror coiled around his chest, and his legs weakened. He could almost feel the icy wind pulling at his cloak, as though reality itself were slipping away. But amid the swirling panic, a single thought flared. I am not alone. Ryan clenched his fists and summoned every ounce of courage. He recalled the warmth of his mother's smile, the gentle promise she once whispered, "We are fire, we endure." Channeling that memory, he took a trembling breath, focusing on the small flame-like crest on his palm. As he drew strength from it, the haunting whispers began to fade. The ember figures convulsed, their twisted forms shrinking back into the circle of fire, until only a lone wisp hovered before him like a flickering candle. With steady resolve, Ryan met its gaze. "I am more than my fear," he whispered. "I will not be claimed by the darkness." At once, the wisp dissolved into a cascade of sparks that rained down upon him, bathing him in soft golden light. The ground beneath his feet steadied, and the heat that once felt suffocating became gentle and comforting. The ring of fire receded, leaving only an empty space where the trial had been. The chamber returned to stillness, and the voice spoke again, warm with approval. "You have faced your fear, Ryan, and stood firm. The path ahead awakens." In that moment, a narrow corridor opened beyond the far wall, its entrance framed by carved flames that pulsed like living hearts. Ryan wiped sweat from his brow, muscles trembling from the ordeal. Yet he felt a new spark of confidence glowing within him. Ahead lay the next trial, and with it, another challenge to his heart and will. Ryan's legs were unsteady as he stepped into the newly revealed corridor. The walls here glowed with a pale, silvery light that felt cold to the touch, like moonlight trapped in stone. The air hummed with quiet anticipation, and every footfall echoed, reminding him that he was deep within this ancient temple's secret heartbeat. As he walked, the corridor narrowed, and the silvery glow gave way to flickering blue flames that lined the walls. Those flames cast dancing reflections of Ryan's own face, multiplied countless times until it felt as though hundreds of versions of himself peered back. Each reflection bore a different expression: a smiling child, an angry boy, a sorrowful youth, converging in a silent chorus of who he once was, who he had become, and who he could be. At the corridor's end, a massive door of polished obsidian stood closed. Carved into its surface were intricate symbols: a restorative eye, a broken mirror, and a single tower. As Ryan placed his hand on the door, it swung open soundlessly, revealing a circular chamber bathed in cool azure light. In the center, an altar of dark stone stood, its top slick like glass. Upon it lay an ancient mirror framed by coils of sculpted flame, only this fire was carved in stone, frozen forever. The moment Ryan approached, the mirror's surface rippled like a pool of liquid. His reflection emerged, but it was not quite his own. The boy staring back had eyes that glowed with the same reddish ember as the crest on Ryan's palm. As he moved closer, the reflection stepped forward, separating itself from the glass to stand before him. "Why do you seek the temple's power?" the reflection asked, its voice an echo of Ryan's own. Ryan's breath caught. He had never spoken his true desire aloud. He opened his mouth to answer, then hesitated. The silver-eyed reflection raised a hand, and the chamber darkened, revealing scenes dancing across the walls. His mother's frail form by a dying hearth. His father departing at dawn, leaving a shattered heart behind. The day Ryan first discovered the flame mark on his hand, a beacon of hope and dread, all at once. The reflection's gaze bore into him. "Speak the truth, child of embers. Speak what you have held in the shadows of your heart." Ryan's throat felt tight. His voice shook as he whispered, "I seek the temple's light so that I may protect those I love and reclaim the promise my father broke." At his words, the mirror image's eyes flickered brighter. The visions on the walls shifted. His mother's gentle smile transformed into tears of betrayal. The memory of his father's departure warped into accusations of cowardice and selfishness. Pain burned in Ryan's chest as the echoes of old wounds pressed in. Tears pricked his eyes, but he would not look away. He swallowed and spoke again, voice clearer this time. "My father left to chase legends, and in doing so, he left me without guidance. I carry this mark and its questions. Why me? Why now? I am afraid that if I seek the temple's power, I will only become what he was, a fool chasing flames." Silence fell. The mirror shimmered, then cracked. The fissures spider-webbing across its surface until the glass shattered, falling away to reveal a glowing ember at the altar's center. Its light pulsed in time with Ryan's heartbeat. From the ember, a warm voice resonated through the chamber. Truth is the forge that tempers the flame within. You have spoken what lies hidden in your heart. Now, carry this ember. Let it guide you forward. Ryan stepped closer, reverent. He cupped the ember in his palm, feeling its gentle warmth spread through him, as if the temple acknowledged his honesty and granted him new strength. Ahead, a hidden panel slid open, revealing a path bathed in golden light. The trial of truth had ended, yet Ryan knew the hardest challenge still awaited. Ryan's hand glowed softly as he carried the ember through the golden lit passage. With each step, the warmth in his palm grew stronger, illuminating the path like a living lantern. Yet, the temple's calm was deceptive. He felt a quiet rumble beneath his feet, as though some great presence watched his every move. At the corridor's end, a vast chamber unfolded before him, its ceiling arched high above, disappearing into shadows flecked with dancing sparks of embers. In the center sat a massive stone basin filled with water that reflected the fiery glow of floating lanterns. Around the basin's rim were etched words in an ancient tongue. Only through loss does true light rise. Ryan approached, feeling the ember's heat intensify. Suddenly, the water in the basin began to swirl, forming ripples that coalesced into a face. A woman's face carved from liquid moonlight, her eyes shimmering with sorrow. Ryan, she spoke, voice soft as midnight rain. You have faced fear and uttered truth. Now comes your greatest test, the trial of sacrifice. To restore the temple's flame, you must offer what you cherish most. Are you prepared to let go? His heart pounded. He thought of his mother's gentle laughter, his father's broken promise, and the village that slept unaware of his journey. Then he remembered Ashari, the ember-born guardian who had guided him in his dreams. Compassion swelled within him. She had no world beyond these walls, and her eyes held a longing to be free. I understand, he whispered, voice trembling. The moonlit figure nodded, and the basin's waters stilled. A narrow stone bridge extended across the basin, leading to a tall pedestal upon which lay Ashari's form, her body composed of glowing embers and curling smoke. Her eyes, bright with hope, met his as he stepped onto the bridge. "Ryan," she said, voice crackling like a gentle flame, "I cannot leave this temple unless the final light burns again. But the cost. You may lose more than you know." Tears welled in Ryan's eyes. He crouched before her, feeling the ember in his palm resonate with her presence. "I cannot bear the thought of losing you," he murmured. "But if freeing you restores the temple and honors your guardians, then I will do what must be done." With those words, the ember leaped from his palm and merged into Ashari's chest. A brilliant flare erupted, so bright it turned the chamber's shadows into dancing ribbons of light. Ashari's form shimmered, becoming more solid, her features taking on the warmth of living flesh rather than mere flame. Around them, the floating lanterns burst into brilliant fire, and the basin's waters boiled until steam filled the room with soft mist. Ryan shielded his eyes from the radiance. When he dared to look again, he saw Ashari standing before him as a girl of warm glow, no longer bound by temple stone. Her ember heart beat gently beneath her translucent skin. The chamber of sacrifice trembled violently as the temple absorbed their sacrifice, its ancient foundation realigning. Stones shifted, runes glowed anew, and distant echoes of freed guardians rose like a choir. But amid the triumph, a tremor shook the pedestal loose, sending Ryan stumbling backward. The glowing stone beneath him cracked, and a cascade of sacred fire spilled forth, forming a protective barrier around Ashari. Before Ryan could react, the barrier pulsed outward, engulfing him in searing light. He felt himself drawn into a vortex of warmth and power, as if every trial's essence, fear, truth, sacrifice, merged within him. When the light subsided, Ryan lay at the edge of the now empty basin. The ember was gone from his hand. In its place, his skin bore a glowing crest that pulsed once, then faded to a gentle warmth. He rose unsteadily and saw Ashari beside him, no longer made of smoke and flame, but solid and alive. "You have rekindled the flame temple," she whispered, voice steady with gratitude. But the temple no longer needs you. Go forth, live. Let your light guide others as you have guided me. Outside the chamber, the temple's core rumbled, and columns of flame shot upward through cracks in the roof. The freed flame guardians soared into the night sky like a fiery constellation, their cheers echoing through the mountains. Ryan followed Ashari down the corridor, each step lighter than before, as if the temple's burden had been lifted from his shoulders. At dawn's first light, they emerged onto the ridge. The flame temple stood silent, its stones warmed by the rising sun, but no longer aflame. Ashari reached for Ryan's hand, her eyes bright and alive. "This is not goodbye," she said softly. "Whenever your world needs hope, call upon the spark within." Ryan smiled, feeling the cool morning breeze and the gentle promise of a new day. With Ashari by his side, he descended toward the village. No longer just a boy marked by fire, but a beacon of light for all who would follow. And so ends Ryan's journey through the temple that appeared at midnight. A tale of courage, honesty, and the power of sacrifice. May its embers glow softly in your dreams tonight, guiding you to peaceful slumber. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the hidden flame temple. I hope Ryan's trials of fear, truth, and sacrifice inspired you to embrace courage and honesty in your own life. If this story helped you unwind, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments which moment moved you the most. Don't forget to subscribe to Dreamy Sleep Tales and hit the bell icon so you never miss a new bedtime adventure. As the gentle rain continues to patter softly in the background, allow these soothing sounds to carry you into a restful night's sleep. Sweet dreams, and I'll see you next time for another tale that sparks your imagination and brings you peace. Good night.